Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin.
Fisherman drowns at Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth. Positive trend in St. Catherine. Pastor conducts more weddings than funerals. And later in sports, 2008 Olympic and world champion, now coaching at Midday High.
I'm Shamela Pullen. Know the details. A fisherman drowned at Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth yesterday after a paddle boat he was in overturned while net fishing. He has been identified as Damian Davis of a Round Hill address. It's reported that about 11:30 a.m., Mr. Davis and another fisherman went fishing, and when cast in the net, the boat capsized. Mr. Davis, who was reportedly unable to swim, became entangled in the net. He subsequently drowned. The other fisherman reportedly tried unsuccessfully to free Mr. Davis from the net and swam to the shore to seek assistance. Mr. Davis was pronounced dead at hospital. At least one St. Catherine pastor is reporting that he is now conducting more weddings than funerals. Reverend Ewart McDonald says this is a notable shift compared to a few years ago. Speaking at the St. Catherine South Police Station Division Safe School Service recently, he views this as a positive sign for the country.
You don't think that is significant? I think that is significant, DSP Bailey. Yes, it is saying something is happening in Jamaica that is different. Yes, more weddings than we have funerals to do. It was funerals one time, and I was saying, Lord, too many of our people, especially our young people, are just being slain in this country.
But he emphasizes that churches have a significant role to play in sustaining this change.
The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Avail. It stands against the power of evil and darkness that has come to cut short the life of our people. And so it is due to that. But it is also due, I believe, for the hard work and the contribution of the brave men and women of the JCF and the military.
And Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the 40% reduction in crime is having a positive impact on hospitals across the country. Dr. Tufton says hospitals in Jamaica are seeing a shift, with fewer resources being used to treat gunshot victims compared to before.
Health. Impacts public health in terms of the numbers that turn up at hospitals with trauma-related cases, within the communities, within the home, the disputes that sometimes our own public health nurses in the field at the health centers have to get involved in. So all of this is part of conversation that public health does play a critical role. And the Prime Minister recently spoke to the need to have a holistic approach around just promoting peace and good relations within communities, and that's very important. So some of that dialogue that takes place here helps us in that regard.
In the meantime, following a meeting with the Philippines Health Minister at the UN General Assembly, Dr. Tufton says progress has been made on discussions for collaboration.
As you know, we have had a significant challenge with the training of our healthcare workers and retention of those healthcare workers, particularly specialist nurses, but some areas of expertise in the level of doctors and specialist doctors. As we build out our infrastructure, Cornwall Regional, Western Child, Spanish Town and others, UWI, UHWI, there's going to be a need for more of our healthcare workers.
The Ministry of Education has reaffirmed its commitment to eliminate the shift system in all remaining schools by the 2027-2028 academic year. This was announced by Susan Nelson-Smith, Regional Director for Region 5. And we apologize for not having the audio on that clip. Now, Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says the government is rolling out new measures to prevent farmers from losing millions of dollars when crops go unsold. O'Shane Masters reports.
Agriculture Minister Floyd Green says the government is taking steps to help farmers with excess produce which are oftentimes destroyed. Some farmers over the years have lost millions of dollars due to the oversupply, poor distribution, or lack of markets for their produce. But the portfolio minister says that will change.
One of the things that the government has committed to in this term is to put in stronger marketing and distribution systems, and also to formulate a national buyback program, where what we want to ensure is that wherever farmers have excess produce, the government does have a pool of funds and a distribution network to be able to buy those products and either store or distribute.
The initiative would see the government purchasing excess produce from farmers for redistribution to schools, hospitals, and other public institutions, reducing wastage and protecting farmers' incomes. As for the market and distribution issues,
we do know oftentimes is because of poor distribution networks, because farmers in one area are disposing of items, while in another area consumers are saying they can't get the items.
Hence, he says the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, has been given a mandate.
I've already tasked the team at RADA and the ministry team to look at our marketing and distribution network. Plus, when we put in the storage, I think that is going to help. So we've just outlined some of the storage facilities, but the idea is where we have high productive areas that we will do smaller modular storage types.
He was speaking at a recent Agriculture Ministry press briefing. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And back to an earlier story, the Ministry of Education has reaffirmed its commitment to eliminate the shift system in all remaining schools by the 2027-2028 academic year. This was announced by Susan Nelson-Smith, Regional Director for Region 5.
It's a classic case of taking the bull by the horns. Because of the demand for space, the administrators of Bellefield High School earmarked an ambitious mission to raise funds to construct a new grade 11 block. And they did. From talk shop sales to special fundraisers, PTA, alumni, diaspora, and private donor support, the school raised $75 million between 2021 and 2025. The result? A brand new 2-story grade 11 block which comprises of 4 classrooms and administrative offices. Principal of the 54-year-old institution, Paul Grant, speaks to an even bigger goal. Coming off the school shift system. There's still some way to go, however, as more classrooms are needed to accommodate the student population of approximately 1,400, a daunting task, but the principal remains determined.
From the PEP examinations annually, approximately 400 students are placed at Bellefield High. 77% of these students are classified in pathway 3, which really means at the beginning or developing levels for high school for the PEP examinations. We gripe annually at the results, and it gets progressively worse. However, we set in motion interventions to transform our 1,400 students across both shifts to have them sit the same CXC examinations as their traditional high school counterparts in 5 years.
Despite the challenges, the school continues to do well.
We are left with 5 operational hours per shift, minus lunch and registration. That takes us down to 4 hours of contact time per day per shift. This is 2.5 hours. If you compare a traditional high school ending at 2:30 or 3 p.m. with Bellefield High ending at 11:30, respectively, and 5 o'clock, each traditional or upgraded high school that operates on a whole-day school each day has 2.5 hours more of contact time than we do.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education has reaffirmed its commitment to eliminate the shift system in all remaining schools by the 2027-2028 academic year.
But remember, in this island itself, we have 1,001 schools. And we have several of our schools that are still on shift. And the minister has committed to ensure that the remaining schools that are on shift, Bellefield High being one of them, will be taken off shift. And so it might not be the gift that you expect, but what I can say to you, as the regional director, I will work to ensure that I represent your voice.
Carrie Simpson, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us, more stories. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Pharmaceutical distributor Indus Pharma Jamaica has raised $1 billion through a new 5-year bond to refinance debt and fund investments, including the development of its prime iron shore property in Montego Bay. The bond, arranged through NCB Capital Markets, carries an interest rate of about 9.5%. The funds will refinance an existing $805 million bond that matured this month, with the balance earmarked for investment. Further afield, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on the sale of TikTok on Thursday. The order is a step toward completing a deal to sell TikTok's U.S. assets to a consortium of mostly American investors. Mr. Trump said Chinese President Xi Jinping gave the go-ahead for the deal during a phone call with him last week, which he described as a very good talk. The order is an important step toward the final sale, but the process is not complete. The deal will still likely require regulatory approvals from the US and China. For the Business Minute, I'm Shane Masters.
Time now for the top stories from around the world.
In the region, the Antigua and Barbuda government says it has signed 3 separate visa waiver agreements with African countries amid efforts by the wider Caribbean community CARICOM to have closer cooperation with the African continent. Antigua and Barbuda's foreign affairs ministers signed the agreements with Kenya, Ghana, and Benin. Regional governments have since reaffirmed their commitment to continue building a robust framework for cooperation in multilateral fora and to work collectively to advance the interests of developing countries, particularly those of small states and the wider global south. On the international scene, a federal grand jury in the U.S. state of Virginia has formally charged former FBI Director James Comey with 2 offenses related to testimony he gave to Congress. Mr. Comey, who has long drawn U.S. President Donald Trump's criticism, is accused of lying to a Senate committee in 2020 about whether he authorized a leak of classified information to the media. The indictment comes days after Trump called on the country's top law enforcement official to more aggressively investigate his political adversaries, including Mr. Comey. Responding to the indictment, Mr. Comey declared himself innocent and said he had great confidence in the federal judicial system. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
Thank you, Carrie. And we take another break. Sports is next.